Okay, picture this. You're looking right at your smartphone's home screen, just staring at all those colorful little app icons you tap 100 times a day. Now imagine those icons subtly dissolving into these floating, glowing streams of your personal data. Just particles of your life flowing straight out of your phone and vanishing into this massive, invisible network in the dark. Because, well, that's exactly what is happening in your pocket right this second. Every single app on your phone was built by a company, and that company needs to make money. But a lot of them don't charge you a single cent, which kind of brings us to the golden rule of the digital age. If you are not paying for the app, you are not the customer. You're the product. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the reality that you are the actual asset being packaged up, analyzed, and sold. We're going to break down exactly how these everyday apps harvest your digital life, and much more importantly, how you can finally put a stop to it. $300 billion. Let that sink in for a second. $300 billion. That was the estimated global value of the data broker industry in 2023 alone. Your personal data has an absolutely staggering market value. And right now, this massive invisible economy is operating directly on your phone, trading your daily habits back and forth without you even realizing it's happening. So how does this invisible machine actually work? Let's walk through the pipeline. It's basically 3 steps. Step 1, you install a shiny new app, blindly accept the permissions, and hand over access to your location or your microphone. Step 2, that data gets quietly packaged up and sold to data brokers. These are companies whose entire business model revolves around flipping your personal information. And then step 3, those brokers turn around and sell it to high-paying buyers. We're talking advertisers, insurance companies, financial institutions, you name it. All right, let's dive into the types of apps pulling this off, starting with Category 1, the free app illusion. Anytime you download a totally free app, I want you to stop and ask yourself something. How exactly does this company pay its software engineers? How do they afford all those massive servers? Because if you aren't opening your wallet, somebody else is funding the whole shebang. And the answer is almost always advertising revenue, which of course requires highly detailed audience data to actually be worth anything. To put this into perspective, take a look at this 2022 Oxford University study. They mapped out the sheer volume of silent partners just living on your device. The numbers are wild. The average Android app shares your data with 10 hidden third-party services. And the top 20% of apps, they share it with more than 20. Every single one of those is a company you have likely never even heard of, accessing data you never consciously agreed to share. Moving right along to Category 2, and this one surprises people every single time, weather apps. I mean, think about it. Why does your weather app need to know exactly where you sleep, or literally where you go every single weekend? You grant it precise location access because, well, you want an accurate forecast. But by doing that, you're constantly broadcasting incredibly intimate patterns about your physical movements. And look, this isn't just some theoretical privacy risk. Back in 2019, the city of Los Angeles actually sued the IBM-owned Weather Channel app. Why? Because they got caught selling users' precise location data to third parties without any meaningful disclosure. That deeply personal data was being used by hedge funds to make stock trading decisions. It was being used by retailers to target ads based on the physical stores people walked into. Then we have Category 3. Utility apps. Things like flashlights, QR scanners, battery optimizers. Honestly, these are kind of the worst offenders because they're just so boring. Nobody suspects the flashlight app. But look at this comparison here. A real flashlight app only needs access to your camera flash. That's it. But apps like Brightest Flashlight Free were caught requesting access to your GPS, your contacts, and your microphone, beaming your precise coordinates to ad networks every time you turned it on to look for your keys in the dark. They are literal digital Trojan horses. Which brings us to Category 4, the big one, the social media panopticon. Obviously, you already know social platforms collect data, but the actual scope of it is vastly underestimated by pretty much everyone. It goes way, way beyond what you actively post or like. They are building a digital profile on you that is, frankly, probably more detailed than any government record on file. The specificity of this invisible tracking is honestly terrifying. For instance, Facebook uses this off-site tracking pixel embedded across millions of different websites just to watch what you browse and buy, even when you aren't logged into Facebook. TikTok's privacy policy explicitly mentions collecting your keystroke patterns and your clipboard content. And Instagram? They are actively tracking your dwell time. That means they are measuring exactly how many milliseconds you look at a post that you never even click on or interact with. Okay, take a breath. Enough about the problem. Because you actually have power here. Let's pivot to what you can do about this. We're going to walk through 4 concrete, actionable steps you can take right now to reclaim your digital privacy. Starting with fix number 1, audit your permissions. The best part, you don't need to be some elite hacker to do this, and it doesn't cost a single cent. Let's build your first line of defense. Whether you are rocking an iPhone or an Android, just go into your settings and find your privacy or app permissions menu. Run through your location, your microphone, and your contacts access. For every single app, ask yourself, does this thing actually need this to function? If it's a flashlight asking for your location, revoke it immediately. And, crucially, change any always-on location settings to while using or never. Doing this one simple step instantly cuts off the vast majority of that passive background data harvesting. And that leads us to fix number 2, delete and replace. Sometimes auditing just doesn't cut it. You have to get ruthless. You need to straight up delete the worst offending apps on your device and swap them out for privacy-respecting alternatives. So what exactly should you swap them out for? Well, ditch those ad-heavy weather apps, the sketchy third-party flashlights, the random QR scanners. Instead, rely on safe, native alternatives. Swap over to Apple Weather or Dark Sky. Use the native flashlight and the built-in QR scanner that came pre-installed on your phone's operating system. These native tools simply don't broadcast your GPS coordinates to random strangers on the internet. All right, fix number 3, use a reputable VPN. A virtual private network encrypts your internet traffic and masks your IP address. It basically strips away the easiest, most basic layer of tracking, which makes it significantly harder for these apps to build a profile based on your network-level behavior. But the absolute key word here is reputable. There is a massive distinction you have to make here. Free VPNs are incredibly dangerous because, ironically, they are almost always data collection traps themselves. Selling your browsing data is literally how they pay for their servers. So a reputable VPN is going to be a paid service. We're talking about companies like NordVPN, Mullvad, or ProtonVPN. These are services that have a verified, strict no-logs policy. Finally, fix number 4, data deletion requests. You actually have some serious legal rights to force these data brokers to delete the personal information they have already harvested from you. This is all thanks to strict privacy laws like the GDPR over in Europe and the CCPA in California. And fortunately, you can actually automate this whole process. You don't have to sit there manually emailing hundreds of shady brokers. You can just use tools like Ignogi or DeleteMe. These services automatically submit data deletion requests to hundreds of brokers simultaneously on your behalf. And the most crucial part, they ensure ongoing removal. Because here's the thing, data brokers will always try to reacquire your data later. So a one-time request just isn't going to cut it. You absolutely need continuous enforcement. So to wrap this all up, look, you might not be able to become completely invisible online, but you can absolutely make yourself significantly less profitable to these companies that are treating your private life like a revenue stream. Audit your permissions, replace those bad apps, invest in a real VPN, and demand your data be deleted. But all of this leaves us with one critical question. If your own trusted apps are betraying you, what happens when you sit down and connect to a public coffee shop Wi-Fi? We are going to uncover that massive vulnerability in our next explainer. Keep your data safe, and I'll see you then.